really kind of reflected about going through the discovery process to look at what do we need to do and what are those big decision points. And I think too, I'd also add with the TOC's insight and advice was really critical about going forward with a big binning approach so that you start off today and 24 or 36 months down the road, that's when you actually stand up this huge, very large, complex system. What the TOC recommended, and I would support as well, is we have to be more agile and have more deployments along that pathway so you actually see a progressive success points to get to that point before you just start clicking something up and up and running 3 years down the road. So that was a big change.
Any further questions for the panel? Great, thank you. Is there public testimony on this item?
Yes, we have 3
Bridge
people
Crane,
signed
Bridge
up.
Crane.
Please come on up. Cameron Starr, Star Stoffer, and Charles Bridge Crane Johnson.
Good morning.
All right, my name is Cameron Stark, and I'm a taxpayer here in Portland. I think you're spending your money on bullshit. I think that you need to defund Fleet Week. I think that you need to not spend your money on whatever the hell this is, because we still got people dying in the streets. Then you're bringing in warships that are killing families in what you call a sanctuary city.
Okay, I'm
and you're
sorry.
bringing
Is
them
this-
up
is this
here
related
to
to this
parade them around in front of them. What the hell is that? That is just not acceptable.
Excuse
This is
me.
a sanctuary
Excuse
city,
me.
and
Excuse
you
me.
cannot
This is a
do that. You
violation
cannot
of council
bring,
rules if
right,
you do not
you
stop. I'll
cannot
ask you to
bring
leave.
in warships. All right,
Thank you.
let me get my bag.
Good morning.
Well, I'm Star Stoffer. I really don't know why you're laughing. Inappropriate. Really. Mostly, I agree with Cameron. I think that
Up on
you
the
guys
left,
spend
okay.
money irresponsibly, and it really has nothing to do with the citizens of Portland and their well-being, but it has everything to do with making your perfect little town even whiter and even prettier for white people. And it's shameful. It's shameful that I have to go to the county to get help with the houseless issue because you
So,
guys, I can't
Star,
keep you
I'm
awake
sorry.
there.
Is this germane to the contract?
Are we
or to
talking
the
about a
technology?
budget or are we not talking
It's
about a
not
budget
a
here?
budget. No, it's not.
And
It's
also,
accepting
I mean,
quarterly
shame on you for
technology.
bringing that up and making it personal earlier. Nobody in this room has anything to do with that. We all read it in the paper. Way to beat a dead horse.
Thank you. Good morning.
Green light, there we go.
You got it. Thank you.
For the record,
Bridge
my name is
Crane.
Charles Bridge Crane Johnson, and it's unfortunate, I think, that we didn't talk about the scoping for the TOC. To have a technology oversight committee that is not engaged in oversight of any of the police department, police bureaus, automation, suggests that we're not really, that, you know, if there's a book on best practices, we also have a banned book suite here because we're not using it. From the time of Mayor Sam Adams, when we first had the Alliance Ministerial Alliance working with him to get the Department of Justice in here to look at what we found was a pattern and practice of abuse, we have not come up with a reliable, open, transparent system for letting people know what our police are doing and how they're doing it. So we haven't had a catastrophe like the IPAT that we know of inside the police bureau, but I encourage you to, I also wanted to, more minor procedural thing. The bios are a little weak. If you go to the technology oversight page for OMF, I think citizens would like to know more, and it's really disappointing that he's not at Intel anymore. You can't say extreme scale. But that's secondary to the issue of, I know that, I didn't take a chance to review it, but the procedure is based on a resolution. Maybe you could just address kind of the public about how the Technology Oversight Committee, is there a dollar line threshold or projects that go before technology oversight, or is it another criteria? Thank you.
Thank you. That's actually a good question. Do we have somebody come back up in the committee to address some of those issues? Hello again.
Hit 'em all.
Is the light on?
Yes.
Great, thank you.
In terms of the backgrounds for the individuals, I think we've got a website. If you go to portlandoregon.gov, search on Technology Oversight Committee, you can find the resolution that enacted the committee in the first place. You can find information about each of your council representatives. I would encourage folks to visit that and do that search for that. In terms of how projects are presented to the TOC, we go through a very elaborate review process, looking at the costs, the risk to internal versus public. Glad to provide that as well. It's probably I think it's about a 6-page document that we go through this analysis, both from the intaking bureau who presents it to us. I do a review and then I present that to the TOC to consider whether or not they want to take that on underneath their portfolio.
Is there an exclusion for the police bureau that was raised? So we could bring technology projects from the police bureau to the TOC for consideration.
And I think there was a resolution or a request some time ago that if the Portland Police Bureau were to pursue a body-worn camera implementation, that it would automatically go to the TOC.
Absolutely. Good.
Thank you.
Further questions? We have a motion from Commissioner Fish, second from Commissioner Salzman. Please call the roll.
Fish,
Thank you, Jeff Mayor, and thank you to the committee members for your excellent work and your service. This was a significant reform brought by Dan Salzman many years ago to provide some additional sunshine and oversight over technology programs. And these technology projects are the bane of all levels of government, and it requires, I think, extra vigilance to make sure we're on track. Thank you for your work.
Saltzman.
Yes, thank you, Technology Oversight Committee members, for your hard work, and thank you, all enough for great staff support. Bye.
On every single quarterly report, I remember there was Commissioner Saltzman who was spearheaded setting this up. And I think the model of each of the council members appointing someone who's their direct liaison is a good one, and I've certainly appreciated Diana and others who served as my representatives. So thank you very much, and thanks to staff. Aye.
Historically, there have been few items that attract as much public attention as flawed public sector technology projects. So I'm very supportive of having this committee, and my inclination personally would be to lean on them as heavily as we can, understanding that the pay scale is not very good serving on this committee, but we really appreciate that we have volunteers with such high levels of technical experience, willing to serve and willing to help guide us in some of these important technology implementations. So I'm all for it. I report gratefully accepted. With regard to the consent agenda, here's what I propose. I'd like to hold 401 through 407 and do those right before 14, because the staffs that would be addressing 401 to 407
I'm not sure what he's saying.
would be the
Yeah, I
same
don't
as
know.
those
I've never
presenting
seen him.
414.
Maybe just hit your camera
We can
on.
read those together, take testimony, and then vote on those individually. So why don't we start with 398 on the consent agenda? Staff has had time to show up.
Looks like a
to do
journalist
their,
or something.
Their explanations.
item 398, pay claim of Espresso Machine Experts in the sum of
I wonder if he heard what I said.
$82,864 involving the
I
Portland
don't
Bureau
know.
of
He
Transportation.
sure did go fast.
And do we have somebody here who can explain that one yet? Does not appear so.
Then I stuff I did do a
Oh, very good.
presentation, so
Okay,
I-
Commissioner Fritz, thank you. Good.
So this claim arises out of a backup of sewage and stormwater into the basement of the claimant's business. Much of the company's inventory was stored in the basement, was not salvageable after coming into contact with the sewage. EBOC was at fault or reached this settlement for opening the manhole to drain the flooded street, which caused the backup to the building. And this dollar amount covers lost inventory as well as cleanup costs, and is, as I say, a negotiated settlement.
Staff is here.
Oh, very good. Yeah, come on. Yeah, sorry for the last minute call. No. Thank you. So Commissioner Fritz saved us. I think you heard her introduction. I don't know if you have more to add to that.
I did not. But if you say we're done.
No, please, if you just give us couple of words on, this is the espresso machine experts issue.
Okay.
And I would thank you because your staff gave my staff this explanation, so thank you.
Okay, perfect. So, my name is Randy Steckless. I'm the Liability Claims Manager and Risk Management. This is our newest senior claims analyst who has taken over the position for a recently retired analyst in my office, Jessica Kincaid. Jessica inherited a number of files, including these two, from her predecessor. So, espresso machine is a property damage claim related to a sewer backup at their business location in southeast Portland. It was a particularly rainy day in December of 2015, and there was a lake forming out front of the business, and Maintenance Bureau was dispatched to the scene, and Maintenance Bureau worker popped a manhole in the street, not knowing that that manhole was a sanitary only sewer line, and it effectively drained the lake as he was expecting.
Into the basement.
What he didn't know is that it was going to overwhelm the 8-inch line serving that property, and that water came rushing in and overwhelmed the basement space of this business. So, any questions? Jessica has got more familiarity with the claim.
So why don't we do, this item was pulled by a.
That was me, and I think that that's adequate. I just wondered how sewage got to be PBOT, but it's been clearly explained, so.
Okay. Sounds like the question has been addressed. Thank you very much. We sure appreciate it. Please, Commissioner Fitch, please call the roll. Oh, did anybody else want to testify on this particular colorful item? Seeing none, please call the roll, Carla.
Fish.
Aye.
Silverstein.
Aye.
Fritz.
Well, thank you again for giving my staff the information on this, and my chief of staff too, for it's definitely,
Weaver.
Aye, the claim is approved. Thank you very much, and welcome.
And we'll stick around if we.
Good idea. Okay, yes, you may be needed right now. 399, I believe, was the next pull item.
Pay claim of Jeff Wong in the sum of $21,790 involving the Portland Police Bureau.
And is this one that you also cover?
This is our thing.
Oh, very good. If you could give us an explanation of this.
All different discounts.
All right, this involves a fleet accident. Portland police officer acknowledged that they proceeded on a red light, resulting in a collision with Mr. Wong's wife. Mr. Wong's wife was driving a 2016 Mercedes, and the repair cost totaled $12,789.85. In Oregon, they're also entitled to diminished value claim for newer vehicles. This Mercedes had less than 1,000 miles on it, and so they're entitled to a claim for loss of market value. We were able to negotiate with the Wongs and reduce this from their claim of $10,910 to $9,000. And the total settlement that we recommended was $21,789.85.
And we have public testimony on this item?
Please, Bridge Green.
This was cool. Okay, very good. So maybe if you could just hang out for a few minutes while we take public testimony, perhaps somebody will raise other.
Shall we relocate?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have a question, but I'll write into their committee. Because I didn't have any detail of this, but I think we've come to the rather illuminating fact of what happened to a police officer when they admit fault in a moving vehicle accident. You know, many of us would have to worry about our insurance, our ability to continue our job, and also I'm Charles Bridge Grant Johnson.
Thank you, sir.
So I think that throughout the time risk management talked, I don't know if you've got a full plate, Mr. Police Commissioner, but I don't know if you're off the top of your head can extemporaneously say if there's language in the police contract that particularly covers that, or if that issue has come across your plate so far as police commissioner.
Not specific to this case, but I can tell you that separate from the insurance claim, there would also be a disciplinary process, an investigation and a disciplinary process that is separate from the insurance claim. I'm not familiar with this particular case, to be very clear.
And do we know that if the Wongs felt this was improper in addition to what they could have pursued the independent police review process? Do you know if IPR would cover?
I do not know.
Thank you very much.
I'll just add to that, Mayor. The Police Bureau has a collision review board, which is charged
charged with doing sort of after-accident analysis of police motor vehicle accidents. And this, as all of them do, was under the scrutiny of the Collision Review Board. I believe the investigating officer at the scene found that the officer who had moved through the intersection was at fault for causing the accident. And I believe the determination of the Collision Review Board was that it was preventable.
Very good.
Presumably then the officer is sent to defensive driving training or something like that?
There are ongoing training aspects within the police bureau. We don't have a whole lot of control over that. We are monitoring driving behavior of all city employees who drive for the city as part of their work. So there is a process by which their licenses are reviewed with regularity to make sure that they still have valid driving privileges.
Well, colleagues, just so you know, I've had the situation where different bureaus have had collisions like this, and that's something that I, as the commissioner in charge, want to know about. This supplement is presumably fair because everybody agreed to it, but how do we reduce the chances of this happening again?
And interestingly, we just did a brief study for the police bureau about vehicle collisions, and we looked at a 3-year calendar history from 2014, 15, and 16, and the trend line is certainly moving in a downward direction and consistently going down. Costs of repairing vehicles from those collisions, both city vehicles as well as private vehicles who may have been affected, is going up, unfortunately. So the costs are rising, the numbers of incidents are actually on the downslope.
Just to flesh out that issue, especially for the last item, perhaps the commissioners would be interested in knowing if that was particularly attended to the police bureau, and or if there was a fleet-wide, including police and other vehicles, and how does that compare to the police fleet size versus the rest of the city?
Thank you. Mr. Walsh.
Mr. Walsh.
You also wanted to testify. Good morning.
Morning, my name is Joe Walsh, I represent Individuals for Justice. We had some of the same questions that Rick Grant Johnson had, and seemed to answer those. The additional questions were, was the police officer drug tested? We would like to know that. If you're in an accident and a police officer will do drug testing on you, if it's apparent that you caused the accident, and apparently he caused the accident. The other question we had is, where was he going? What was he on? Was he on a call, or was he just going through the red light because he could? Who are you gonna call? Cops do that all the time. They go through red lights. You got the answer to no one. So we would like to know that. The reason that we object to these consent agendas on these items is this is a good discussion. Commissioner Fritz had good questions. Rick Kane Johnson had good questions. The citizens of this city have a right to know what happened. It's their money. You keep spending it and you want to do it underneath the table. So we get really upset with that. So now we know that the cop was at fault, apparently, and admitted to that. We don't know where he was going, whether he was on a call, if it was a bank robbery and he was getting to the bank to hit the bad guys. Maybe he was justified. I don't think so. Doesn't sound like it. So we still don't know. That's called transparency, folks. You know, I know you don't like transparency, and I don't speak to you really. I speak to the people that are watching this and saying, we need transparency. We need this discussion. We need this information. And we have a right to it. We pay for it. It doesn't come out of your pockets.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, can anybody answer me that question? Was police officer drug tested on site?
No.
Of course he was not.
Of course he was not.
I would add that he is treated like any other driver in absence.
Really?
Probable cause that he was impaired in some manner.
Next time you get stopped and the cop says, walk that line, that's drug testing. That's the beginning of drug testing. And then you say to him, oh, you don't do that.
Okay, thank you. And I believe we have one more person signed up. Correct, come on up.
2 more.
Good morning. That's fine. Come on up and state your name for the record.
This is my first city audit.
Oh, great. Welcome.
Joseph Silverstein.
And if you could just slide the mic a little closer to you and then just state your name for the record. Thank you.
I'm Cheyenne. I actually live in the city of Vancouver, but I frequent Portland because I'm a student here, and I also used to live in Oregon in general. I know we already passed the subject, but I wanted to reconnect back to the technology conversation.
Oh, he's gonna cut us.
You know what, I'm.
It has to do with this as well.
Okay, great.
They connect, that's fine.
Good, please do.
No, it's not, yeah.
Thanks.
Well, I was thinking, some of you guys were talking about them observing the driving habits, right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, would it be possible maybe to make a few more people happy if there was somehow, you know how the safe driver discount works? You see that commercial all the time, right? You just plug in your monitors for driving. What if there was some way we could do that for the city of Portland officers? That way they're happy because they get to see that they are driving safe and being held accountable for their driving, and the city of Portland also has a means to otherwise protect their
They would not
officers
be
as well.
happy.
And on a further note, I know that personally I've been in car accidents before, and not always are police officers called in general. It's generally dealt with by the drivers themselves. And it's only really in accidents that have caused injury or fatality that they are called to the scene. And so the fact that there was no other officer on the scene has nothing to do with that. He was a police officer that crashed into this person, but rather it was more of, I think, perhaps we all sometimes, I think, run red lights on accident. And I know we're all supposed to be paying attention, but it's not always possible. So it's an inevitability, honestly, for an officer to go his whole career without running.
No.
He just hit someone, that's all he got caught.
Thanks for your testimony. Do we have one more person?
They run them all the time.
Yes, sir.
There was a traffic investigating officer from the police bureau who responded to the crash and spoke to both parties that were involved.
Thank you. Good morning.
Star Sulphur, my son is a teenager, and he walks home from school where Portland police officers drive, so this is a great concern of mine. I want to start off by saying that police are not like every other driver. They're police. They are driving city vehicles. Therefore, they should be held to a higher standard of driving. So they should not be treated like every other driver because they're police. I don't know many drivers that drive down the street with lights on top of their car, the authority to run red lights, make people pull over for absolutely no reason, carry a gun, and detain folks. Do you? I can't do that as a driver. So again, they're not like every other driver. And I'm concerned that this officer wasn't drug tested. I'm concerned that I don't know anything about his driving history. I don't know anything about his capacity to make good decisions. He's a cop, so therefore I already doubt his capacity to make good decisions. And he's driving around. Is he still driving? Where my son could be hit by him? I mean, this was a Mercedes, so I know it's a much bigger deal than a child being hit, but especially in this city of money and whiteness and money. But I'm concerned about my child, so I want to know why this officer wasn't drug tested. When they're driving that vehicle, speeding through red lights the way they do, they can hit anybody. Why are they not being drug tested? What the hell is wrong with you people? At any point, do you want to hold the police accountable? I mean, they might as well just go out and start spraying everybody with bullets. God knows they'll get away with it. Maybe I should become a cop so I can just start running people down and get away with it. Speed through the city, shoot anybody I want. I mean, holy crap. I'm kind of wondering what the heck they have to do to be held accountable. Exactly what has to happen? How much money do they need to ask for? How much do they have to cost the city? How many lives need to be lost? How much damage needs to be done? How much more hatred from the community and how much more of a laughing stock from the rest of the nation do you have to let your police force get before you're embarrassed by them? I don't even know how you look at yourselves in the mirror. I mean, you just disgust me. Yeah. Ugh, vomit.
Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Fish.
Yeah.
Saltzman. Fritz.
Thank you for your explanation. Aye.
Weaver.
I appreciate your explanation, particularly the part where you answered the question about why wasn't he drug tested. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is it still the case that in the United States, you cannot be drug tested unless there is a probable cause that you were impaired while you were driving? Is that true or false?
That is the understanding that we are operating from.
Aye, I approve the settlement. The settlement's adopted. Item 410.
410, amend contract with E-Builder Inc. to extend the term and increase the value of the contract by $988,233 for a not to exceed total of $1,724,162 for project management software. Correct, this was clerical error, bring it on.
410 return file.
Return to the office at the request of Commissioner Saltzman.